Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dynamo Truth Health and Wellness, Better Brain and Body. I'm Maureen Greer, and I am your host. And I am passionately diligent to help people get a better brain and body, to seek peace and pursue it by using sound information and scripture to encourage you to become healthy and to get peace in your brain and body and beliefs. And today I'm excited because finally my friend Lana and I are meeting to have our first episode of Lessons with Lana. I've been waiting for this and I can't wait to hear what she has to say. And this is a new year, and every year, as many people do, Lana picks a word and makes it her word for the year. And I'm sure she has other words she thinks of, but she does have one this year, and she's going to tell us about it. And then we have some questions concerning that word. And so, Lana, before we jump into that discussion, though, I want you to introduce yourself and tell people a little bit about you and what you do and what your purpose is and what you want to do to help people with their health.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you, Maureen, for setting this up and for having me on here today. I'm super excited to be able to talk to your audience about my word and kind of my philosophy around it. I am a transformational habit change coach, and I work primarily around the field of trauma-informed care and really identifying maybe some of our triggers and things that hold us back from being the best that we can be. So with this journey that I started a few years ago, working on myself, that's how I came to the word of the year and really figured out that resolutions are not for me. And so a word. So I'm happy to be here today to talk to you a little bit about my word and then the process with it.
Okay, great. Okay. Well, Lana, what is your word for 2023?
So my word for 2023 is intentional. And I was intentional about how I chose that word. Really looking back last year was consistency, and consistency to me meant showing up and setting that habit and being accountable for things. Uh, Learning, looking back as I reviewed my year and as I reviewed, chunks of my progress and my goals and how they were being met and achieved, I really realized that it was the framework of being intentional, or the intentionality behind my actions, that were helping my success and helping me meet my goals. So we all know that our lives are full of professional and personal duties or things that we have to do. We're set kind of forth of those routines that we need to follow up, and it swallows our energy oftentimes. And we look back and we don't have much to show for it sometimes. So one way to combat that burnout, that overwhelm that we might feel, the pressure, so to speak, is to develop some principles around living intentional, or intentional living. And so that's my focus for this year. It's about being aware of who you are, what you want, what you're choosing to commit to, the attitude and the decisions around that. For me, it kind of stemmed out of self-image, and really shifting the lens. We'll talk about it a little bit later about self-judgment and looking at things in a different light. The conscious living connects us deeper, and makes us more purposeful. Prayer, my religious beliefs, that definitely makes me take a step and look at, is this living the life that I want to lead? And is this showing who I am and where I want to be? Because it has to be truthful and it has to be authentic.
I like that word, authentic. Um, it's it's great when things are authentic, like when people's care is authentic, you can tell. And it and it's not just emotion, but that's a really good word too.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
What is living with intention? What does that look like?
So for me, living with attention is taking ordinary tasks that we may have and putting purpose and focus to them. Sometimes we do this autopilot where we just kind of stumble through the day, and you get up and then suddenly it's lunchtime and then it's afternoon and you got to run and pick up the kids, or make dinner, and we really don't have anything to show for it, and we haven't made any progress forward. Um, it's this autopilot that really robs us of the energy. So living intentionally helps us have a focus through the day where we actually can shift if we need to uh, our energy or our actions, and we can take a look to make sure, am I making my way through the day intentionally in the way that I want to? Is the end of the day going to be have the results that I hoped it would be? Sunday, I'll give you an example. I get up, I do my prayer, I do my religious ritual, and then as we go through the day, it's really to me about rest and relaxation. It's that self care. I try to get outside and walk around some. I try to possibly take some pictures of nature and kind of fulfill all my senses. What am I hearing? What am I seeing, feeling, experiencing? Sometimes the air's got a taste to it. It's kind of weird when it's heavy. It's like, oh, I'm not sure I want to be out here right now, but it's really getting that routine going. And then I spend the afternoon really setting up my week and looking at, social media posts. It might be the coaching that I've got going on. It's my professional life. What engagements do I have that I need to be prepared for? It's that intention of, when am I going to build in my breaks on those days? Do I have my food prep done so that I know that I'm not running on empty energy wise? To me, it's really setting up with purpose, building in those pieces that I need to make sure that I still am functioning at the end of the day.
I like that. It's so easy to get on autopilot because we're organized and scheduled and we have habits. And that's important because then you don't have to have the self-control or um, the extra energy to do things that are good for you. But at the same time, when we remember, hey, there's a reason behind this intention, simply like brushing our teeth or drinking water, remembering that we are taking care of ourselves. Oh, this is why I'm doing that. It's good. And this is the intention of why. And then reminding ourselves, even though we're tired of doing certain things, well, it's because of the consequence that we do this. That's the intention behind it because it's good for us. Usually that's the intention behind everything. It's good for us or someone else. And
And
it's
I kind of switched. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, you go ahead. You too. Go ahead.
I kind of switched out consequences with responsibilities, and it helped shift that it's my responsibility to help guide this. And the action there that's left over is like you said, consequence, but it's really still my responsibility to make sure that I re-guide it or reset it. Sometimes looking at core values or what assets go into your intentionality or your setting that might have to shift. And so it's kind of looking at what lens, that something either worked out the way you wanted it to or intended it to or didn't. And then how do you realign with that intention that you had in the
Yeah.
beginning?
Okay. Next question. Do I have to have my life all figured out to live with intention?
No, you don't, because we're human. We try to, but there are some core aspects to it that, like I kind of mentioned just a second ago or alluded to. You have to have a few. To me, there's three questions or three areas. You have to know what you want your life to be about. So you have to have an overarching goal. For me, it's mental health and then physical wellness. I think those go really hand in hand together. So to me, that's my overarching intention. That's what my life is about, is each day striving and working toward that. So that's what I'm focusing on, knowing what matters most to you in your life. And again, as we age, as we go through cycles, as we go through seasons, this may change. Right now, being healthy, being physically fit, having a clear mental focus and attitude towards life on the positive side, not playing the blame game, not playing the woe is me game, or I'm stressed out. I'm done with those chapters, and I'm into more the positive intentions and the positive living aspects of it. My family and my work, getting the message out that we're not broken people. We are the way we are, and that there's steps that we can do to, in our minds, heal ourselves and come out stronger. And my family, being distant now, this is the first time in the first season of our lives that I haven't lived near my family. That is several hours apart. But I'm really coming to grips with that matters to me. Carving out those chunks of time. We just got done with holidays. And it was really important to be able to be with the family that we were close to. And then how do you connect with those who weren't here with us? So knowing what matters most in your life and making those changes or steps to make sure that they're front and center is important. And then really figuring out the why. So why is this important to you right now? To me, it is knowing that I value them, that I value people in general and what they bring to the table. That I see you for the way you are, not the way I think necessarily something should be, but it's you, and we all bring uniqueness to the world. And so I think that those three core things are huge. My why is because I don't think anybody should suffer. I don't think anybody should have the pain and the overwhelm that I see so many people going through. We saw it, the last 18, 24 months as people were shut in, seeing kind of that distance that we have and that disconnect, so to speak. So my why is really making sure people understand their value and where they fit in, and then having them thrive and survive through that.
Yeah. But like you said, the responsibility to not stay stuck somewhere. Like Jesus said, pick up your mat and walk to the crippled, and, pick up your cross and go. And, there's a certain amount of responsibility. We got to get out of bed and make a choice. And it's hard. There's a fine line there between when we're weak and when are we going to make the right choice. But there's, it's not just someone else doing everything for us, yet the Lord helps us in our weakness. Okay,
You got to
how?
ask. You got to offer it up to him, and you got to
Yeah,
ask.
exactly. Turn to him, right? So often we rely on our own strength, and it says, he who trusts in himself is a fool. The Lord he hears us when we call. Okay, how can I be intentional each day?
Okay, so for me, and these are things that have worked for me. I start my day usually off in prayer. Oftentimes this is before I'm even out of bed. So it's kind of when you do that self check and you're like, okay, I'm here, and then it's like, thank you, Lord, for the night's sleep I've just had, for the rest my body has received. Give me the strength and the will to do your work as I go through my day. Those are all before I get up out of bed. Oftentimes that first 15, 20 minutes while you're really trying to gear up or suit up, as I like to say, your suit of armor for the day is important. And so that's how I usually start. Then it's with gentle stretching. And as I'm going through this, I'm seeing my body lengthen. I'm seeing my muscles become, pliable and working again because they have been stagnant over the night. And then I drink a glass of water. And as I drink my glass of water, it's filling my body and seeing how it goes into every cell and every muscle and really gets me going. I set the intention for action in the day, ask for guidance several times as I'm doing this, of reassurance that this is correct. This is, what I need to be doing to be helping myself. Usually after that, then I kind of go into I do an intentional goal setting kind of list, so to speak, in my journal. And so it's taking a look at uh, really pulling focus to being kind to fellow coworkers or people that I'm interacting with, making sure that I think before I speak, because once you
Hmm.
let it out, you can't oftentimes take it back.
Hmm.
It's breath work. It's really breathing
Hmm.
and making sure that I am calm, I am set.
Yeah.
So the focus is yeah, taking a look and then pulling out my calendar too and seeing where I'm gonna write in. And I sorry, I put my calendar away because I cleaned my desk off before we started this, but it's physically writing in lunchtime and then kind of, so I can shut everything down and make and set my timer. So that's my intentionality when I start with it, and then at the end of the day, throughout the day, I try to do a lot of breathing. If a phone call sets me off, or I get done with a session and I feel a little rattled, maybe by the information that was presented, it's really grounding myself. Put your feet on the floor, get your bottom back in your seat, take a deep breath, and really let it go. That's their roadmap. That's not mine. That's not mine at all to take on. Being authentic with who I am and in my path is part of my intentionality and my focus. Not comparing myself. So I might see some of the achievements that you've made and I read it or I listen to a reel that you've done or see something that you've posted on your website. I'm thinking, man, I wish I could write like she can. I don't have that talent. And you kind of beat yourself up. I really try to separate myself and say, wow, way to go, Maureen. That was an awesome article that you put on your website. That was so insightful, or the reel that you might have put up there, and really give myself time to intentionally acknowledge your great achievements and what you've done, and that, yeah, I appreciate that. That's my intentionality, is to appreciate that, and what can I take away from the lesson that was in this. So really not comparing
Hmm.
is kind of the short to that. And then really setting up my goals, taking a look at intentionally, did I do what I said I was going to do today? Did I meet that goal? Did I stay focused? Did I stay on track? And if I didn't, does that mean I need to reshift? Or is that just you start tomorrow with a clean breath, and you take it on again? Really kind of that little self check in. And again, I do set up weekly goals on Sunday. I chunk them down into daily, but I have an overarching year plan, and I do have a 5 year goal. So it's that strategic planning, and then breaking down into bite sized pieces so I don't get overwhelmed, but I can stay focused and
Wow,
intentional.
what you just said is huge. All this stuff you just said, you brought up deep breathing, you brought up your journal, you brought up your 5 year plan, your daily and weekly goals. All of those could have been like a 2 hour discussion each one, you know?
Yeah.
And also even like the journal, writing thoughts down, and when we, why did our day get off? You know, knowing why and then learning from it. Those are just huge, what you just said. So here's the next question concerning that. What do you do, like self judgment, the negativity, the regret, when you do not do your day with the intentions that you meant? Like many people are making New Year's resolutions, and so many people it's to quit something that's hard, like quit smoking, quit getting angry. They want to be patient, quit eating too much. They want to lose weight. Just, oh, I'm going to start exercising. Those are like the biggies. Or I'm going to work on my marriage and my relationships, or I'm going to be a better mom. I'm going to get my house decluttered and organized. What do you do to not beat yourself up, and the regret, the self judgment, when you don't fulfill the intentions you set out with? What's your advice to those of us who struggle with that?
Ooh, great question. Okay. So I think if I heard correctly, what happens when your intentions don't line up, or when your self judgment comes in? For me, I work best, or I feel like I am fulfilling my goals and my intention when I'm in line, obviously. So when I start to feel that jitteriness, that anxiousness, you can feel, for me, I feel it in my chest and my heart, and it's that fluttering kind of feeling. That's one of the first triggers of, ooh, I'm veering off a little bit. So really doing a lot of intentional focus work, doing some, I've worked with some coaches where I've had to look at myself and find, where am I feeling stuck? Where am I feeling anxious? Or why do I feel insecure about this? That whole imposter syndrome, right? That
Yeah.
some of us go through. So really, again, that intentionality built throughout the day for check-ins for me works to keep me on track. But those times, yes, I do get off. I've been battling my weight for a couple of years now, and so I'm really learning that, yeah, you can't have the ice cream, or you can't have the handful of nuts at night before you go to bed, in order to stay on track. For me, for my body style and type. So I have to realign myself, and it's a constant battle to realign myself. Lack of direction, oftentimes when I forget the motive or the goal, is what sets me off track. And so I have to really give myself some grace and allowance to have these. Again, looking at things non-judgmental, like, okay, so this happened, let's look behind it. Let's look a little bit about, with curiosity and wonder of, okay, so what set us off that roadmap or that path? It's not a really a pass or fail type of thing. It's more just reassessing, because maybe I am moving in a different way.
Yeah.
Maybe that intention isn't suiting me anymore. That's not meeting where I'm at. Sometimes I have to redefine the goal and take a look at it. Consider the flow. Maybe where I had that action wasn't in the right spot. Maybe instead of journaling in the morning, I used to journal at night, and I did it more of as a gratitude journal. Well, now I do it as an intentional setting journal in the
Yeah.
morning.
Oh,
So,
good.
so figuring out where it
Yeah.
may fit for you.
And I actually, for myself, um, I journal more than once a day for different
Mhm.
reasons. And a
Right.
lot of it is just self-awareness and what's true. Am I focusing on what's true and good and
Yeah.
what's going to help me? It's
Mhm.
getting our mind. I mean, we are going to act what our mind thinks. Our mind, it starts in our mind, and we got to
100%.
get that. We got to take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ, because what we think we end up doing and or believing, and we got to watch that. That's great.
Exactly.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to share as we wrap this up about intentional?
I don't think so. I think I've said everything that I
Yeah,
pretty much kind of wanted to get out there, and I thank you for this time to do
yeah.
this. And again, it's go with grace
Mhm.
and acknowledge that we're human and God's our strength and our rock. And again, like you said before too, we got to take them to Him. And if you're struggling, ask for some guidance, and then sitting in pause and
Yeah,
wait and listen, having open ears to listen.
yeah. Good. Well, thank you. Even though you're not asking me, and this isn't about me or my word, but I am going to share my word, because I actually never selected a word until the last couple of years. And I, I texted a friend earlier and I said, so what's your word? Earlier this year, like January 1, I said, so what's your word this year? And she said, I haven't picked it yet. And my friend Laura, in case she ever watches this, Laura, I said, and then she said, what's yours? And I said, I was waiting for yours. I was going to copy you. And I still haven't heard from her yet. But my word this year is blameless. I have focused so much on Psalm 101, and it begins by saying, I will live a blameless life. And I tell you, I have worked all of 2022 trying to be blameless, and I cannot get past those words, blameless. I mean, blameless in everything, in relationships, in how I treat people, in my organization, and am, am I without fault here? Because if you're 1% at fault, you're part of the problem. You know, I,
100%.
and judging myself, am I blameless in being the best I can be and as responsible as how I know to be? So that's my word for the year.
Right.
But I want to be intentional about being blameless. And I am, but boy, I haven't achieved the blameless part yet. So, well, hey,
We're all works in progress.
thank you so much. Your Instagram, how do people find you on Instagram if they want to find you?
Natural Concepts with Lana,
Okay.
and then I'm Natural Concepts with Lana coaching with Facebook. So if they're on
Okay.
there as well, either way
Okay,
works.
great. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I hope all of you enjoyed our first episode of Lessons with Lana, and that you will have an intention to pick your own word and be intentional about that,
There
no
you
matter
go.
what. Even if it's every day, being intentional about something new. But anyway, thank you, Lana. And everyone, we just hope that you have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful 2023, and just a life of peace as you seek the Lord and trying to do what He wants for you. Okay, thank you, Lana, and we'll see you all later. Bye
Okay.
bye.
Bye bye.